That's good now. Okay, and today then we talk about the 4 questions that appeared in L4M1 exam in July. These questions tend to be quite familiar, and I believe that if anyone set L4M1 last month, then I think you have done a great job. The question the question for L4M1 is quite predictable, and they tend to follow some kind of like some very familiar pattern. It's just that with the question number 3 about procurement policy, then they ask a little bit different. However, then you can easily find the relevant resources from SIP website. Okay, so on my screen, I'm showing the 4 questions for L4M1 that came during July then. First question about direct and indirect expense, about the difference between direct and indirect expense. This question in question 1 is also quite popular. It is kept like the second most popular, just after the fried rice. The second question is about the added value of specification of clearly defined specification. It's also quite familiar question as well, and it may appear in both L4M1 and L4M8. Third question about procurement policy, and for this one, the practical question is about the purposes of procurement policies, and you can find the relevant resources, the materials from the website. The thing from study guide is not very helpful, but on the website, then they have very extremely helpful resource. So in this question, then I will show you the link to that page where you can see clearly the question in particular. Sorry, the answer in particular. And the final question is about the activities that may contribute to the achievement of objectives for a third sector organization. And in particular, we have a scenario about charity. And the question is about what kind of activities should be done to add value to that charity. Again, then this is quite predictable in question number 4, where you need to suggest some actions or activities that may add value to the some particular organization. Normally, they tend to ask about private or third sector, but third sector come more frequently because it may kind of like increase the difficulty of the exam by a little bit. Okay, so let's go into the detail. With the first question, it is a very familiar topic on the difference between the direct and indirect expense. I'm not sure if the question has any scenario, but even if they do, even if it does, then it does not very different from the one that without scenario. In essential, with this question, then you need to highlight some key points. First, you need to define and explain where do these costs stem from. Like the direct costs tend to associate with the key material or the items that contribute directly to the final product or to the finished product, where indirect costs tend to associate with the item that not directly contribute to the finished product. Second, then you can name some example for both direct and indirect expenses. And third, this is the most important thing, explain their impact and importance within an organization. If we have a scenario, then that task would be easier because you need to, you may need to link with the scenario and highlight the importance or the significance of direct and indirect costs. In particular, then direct costs may have direct impact on first the quality of the end product, and second, they tend to be in higher proportion in a purchase portfolio of some manufacturing. For retail, then that proportion may be lower, but anyway, then the direct cost may account for like about 55 to 60 or 70% expense within an organization. So when we try to improve the direct cost, then it may have very big impact on the bottom line. With indirect costs, then they may have small impact, but they are still important to an organization. They maintain the normal operation, and some type of indirect expense could be quite important, could be quite crucial because they may contribute to the overall productivity of the organization. You can name some kind of like indirect expense that may contribute greatly, like the technology or the machinery, some investment, etc. But other expense like office rent or stationery are not very important, and they just have to maintain normal operation of the organization. The next point is not less important, not less crucial, and it is about how we can manage direct and indirect costs. With direct costs, then because of its importance, so we may need to pay a little bit more attention. Some technique can be applied here, like to improve the quality, we can do like something like standardization, value analysis, value engineering. And for the cost, then we may calculate, try to collaborate with the supplier, involve them early with the ESI, or try to make a partnership with them or do the just-in-time system, implement just-in-time system to improve the to remove the to reduce the waste or to improve the quality. With indirect, then they tend to have very wide categories. So the right approach here is to group them into different categories and approach in management differently. So I think this part is quite important because it shows that the way you can manage the direct and indirect costs. Here, then you may implement some kind of like you can implement some knowledge that you have learned from other module into this L4M1. Okay, so you may mention particularly about direct costs, like we may apply the standardization, value analysis, or about implementing trading time and partnership. And finally, although this one I don't particularly like it, but in previous guidance, in previous exam feedback, then SIP also indicate that you may use the Porter's value chain to differentiate between direct and indirect costs. With Porter's value chain, then the primary activities tend to associate with the direct costs, where the secondary activities will associate with the indirect costs. Okay, so that part could be quite a small addition to your writing, and that may attract a little bit more score and increase your chance of uh, passing the exam. The second question is about defining needs and the added value of defining need and clearly define the specification. It is very clear that the question asks about like five added value, five ways of value adding, clearly defining the specification. So I think that we may list some benefits, something like this. First, clearly defined specification may help you to address the user requirement correctly. Second, then this document would serve as a communication method with the suppliers and let them know about our requirements, and they must deliver that thing exactly. And third, uh, it serves as a benchmark in the supplier selection process, or um, it may be it may be facilitating the supplier selection process. And clearly defining need is a key part of achieving the right quality, and it may help you to avoid unnecessary costs like redo or um, refund or return the return the item. And this one is also a document that help you to define or decide that whether the supplier has performed the contract correctly. And together with the added value, then I also think that um, you may need to explain a bit about how we can improve the quality of specification or how we need to do this correctly. So that's why on my slide, I also explain a little bit about how we do this stage correctly. Okay, so as you know, this is stage number one in the procurement cycle. And with this stage, then first we need to communicate with the stakeholders to understand the requirements and their outcome. And if they can define the specification clearly, then it's good. But if in the case that they don't, then we need to communicate or identify the right task specification and consult with the resources, with the materials to draft the specification, like based on the standards or an existing catalog or the supplier or some other external expert. Okay, so this question is quite basic, and I believe that you will do this very well. Question number 3 about the purpose of procurement policy. And for this question, then you can follow the link under my slide for more detail. And this web page shows you very detailed objective of procurement policy. It is very helpful, and I think that you need to read this page at least once. Okay, access that web page, and you will see this on my screen. Please wait. Okay, and you can see this on my screen. We have a web page from SIP itself about the program policies and procedure. And the first part is about the objective of program policy. With this part, then they tend to use the very short description like legal, accountability, auditability, ethical, or ESG, responsible, economically effective, etc. However, then this is not the way you write in the exam. If the question is about 5 different purposes of procurement policy, then I think that this will be the way. First, you need to have an opening explaining about what is policy and the role of policy in good governance in procurement. Second, then you can list the 5 policies. Okay, but not in the thing like this, not in simple word like this, like legal or only risk management or continuous improvement. Instead, then you need to express that in a sentence. Like with the legal part, I may use the word like ensuring compliance with the current or existing regulations and standard. With existing regulations and standard. And within this part, then you may explain about the objective of this one or the meaning of this one, like procurement activity should follow the uh, legal framework, and that may help the organization to avoid the legal scrutiny um, or some excessive fine or some costly litigation. Furthermore, then you can like write about the policies that may have with this particular purpose. Like within the policy, they should within procurement policy, we should clearly indicate that the procurement activity must follow the relevant rules and regulations in that in your country. Similarly, then we can turn on other uh, objectives or purposes, like with the innovation, then you can write about uh, exploitation of development or encourage the innovation within the supply chain. And we can like indicate that the policy should support for innovation, like encourage the suppliers to innovate or encourage the uh, procurement officer or any stakeholder to initiate to have initiative and help them to achieve the and achieve better outcome by leveraging uh, the emerging technology. Similarly, then we may have other part like about accountability and auditability, ESG, risk management, continuous improvement, and the performance target. Anyway, then with this one, then I think that you should approach it like first explaining the meaning of that objectives, and second about what car policy may help us to achieve that objective. Like with this one, ethical, environmental, and social responsibility, then we can mention about the code conduct or some other policy that may help you with the ESG complaints. Okay, so with this one, if you prepare well, then it's not a difficult question to answer. The final question about the objectives of charity and how procurement can help a charity organization to achieve those objectives. Then with this question, we have two parts. First, you need to identify the objectives of a charity, and second, about potential activities that may help with those activities, with those objectives. So, charity is basically an organization in third sector, and the objective for this organization may include something like first raise the uh, community awareness about some things like about the endangered species or some particular disadvantaged community. They want to raise the public awareness about those matter and also change the course of action of the public on the matter. Second, then they may perform the charitable activities where they have the disadvantaged community, like the orphan children or the children in poverty or the disadvantaged people. They may contribute something like provide training, provide education, assist these communities in agriculture and so on, or provide the home, provide the housing for homeless people. So they provide these activity without any profit, and their fund is they are funded by donation. So attracting donation is a part of their objective as well, and they may provide to support different social groups. So with these objectives, clearly we need to do something as procurement to have with this kind of organization. And here, I always emphasize to students that we need to focus on specific and actionable things, not just overall or general or any general statement. So we need to be quite specific about these activities. For example, with each of the activity, then you can list one or more, sorry, with each of these objectives, then you can list one or more activities. Like with raising the awareness, then here, procurement need to act ethically and responsibly in accordance with the organization vision and mission. So with this one, then the organization should have, or procurement should have some kind of code conduct, and they need to comply with that kind of code conduct and avoid any unethical activity. Second, they rely a lot on the donation, on the funding and operations. So to attract donation, then the activities must be effective and provide a value for money. So they need to do uh, the procurement in very high manner, in very due diligence way. They need to clearly define the specification, do the tendering, and contract management to ensure the best outcome. And if the public, if the public sees that um, this organization is doing a good job, then the public may donate more to the organization. But donation could be some source of problem as well. That could be some source of problem as well. When donation is the major source of income, then the organization should have clear guidance on the gift and donation, because the important or large donor may ask the organization to do something against their statement or vision. So if when the organization receive donation, then they need to communicate clearly to the donor that um, they may they may not kind of like follow the instruction or become a tool for a large donor just because they receive a huge sum money, and they still act according to their uh, vision statement, mission statement, and so on. So communicate clearly on this kind of policy is necessary for a charity. When procurement or when the charity organization need to provide the charitable activities to the community, then the end user here will be the um, beneficiary of that organization. And to address the problem correctly, then procurement here they need to collaborate with other stakeholders, and especially the beneficiary, because we purchase for their benefit and we want to ensure that they receive the greatest benefit, and we have the greatest return on investment in those communities. And finally, because charity organizations want to support the society, they want to support the local communities. So to provide even more effective support, then we may need to consider employing the suppliers from local business or the local communities. Okay, so I think that with this kind of suggestion, then you may perform your question better. Okay, now let me see if you have any question. Okay, so I think that um, today event, I already provide very clear instruction about each of the question. And these question, again, they're quite familiar, they are not very difficult, and they tend to be quite predictable as well. So I think that if this trend continue in this November, then majority of students may still pass the exam with ease. However, then it is recommendable that students and students need to improve the writing skill. You need to know what to write and how to develop your idea around the question. Okay, so it is just my suggestion. Like when you do L4M1 or L4M8, then you need to outline your answer first and then develop the details later. Okay. Anyway, then if you like our events and you want to support us, then remember that on Udemy we have some practice questions for SIP exams and also include the F1 and F4M8 exam as well. So currently we have a special code August 24 without space between, and if you apply this, then we may, and then the website may offer you the best price. Okay. If you don't have any more question, then I think we can conclude our event now. Remember that we have a website, we have an email and a WhatsApp number. Feel free to contact us anytime. Recently we received a lot of requests and communications from students. It may take us a little bit to process all of these requests. So I think that is the end of today's event, and I hope that all of you will have successful September and November exams. Okay, thank you very much and goodbye.